Hey, welcome to a new album review today, and today we actually have Assemblage 23 with the Bruise, which is what I can only describe as a like fucking synth pop type thing, like not really, but also look, okay, it's very weird, right? Like I was listening to the entire thing and my thought was, okay, this sounds like Eurobeat, but instead of being Eurobeat, it's sort of like synth, sort of like that fucking dreamy 90s synth combined with like sort of this futuristic idea of what music was going to be, sort of like vaporwave-ish, yeah, but like in the style of like Eurobeat. I'm gonna be honest, I was listening to the entire thing, and the thing that kept popping into my mind was I could only picture the fucking singer at Eurovision. I don't know why, like it gives hella Eurovision vibes. You know, these popish, synthish, like songs that people send to Eurovision, and then the singing is not very good, as in like the fucking mix of the singing just isn't very good. Like I think it actually is part of the album, and it's part of the aesthetic of the album, is to be sort of this lower quality singing, because it sort of gives it this transcendent vibe. But essentially the singing is what happens when you like record with your phone, right? It's sort of that crunchy quality, you know what I mean? Sort of that low quality type of recording, to low quality type of audio, which I find very funny. And look, it does play into the album, and I think it does play into the atmosphere of the album, sort of plays a lot into this aesthetic that the album is going for, definitely. Yeah, basically that's sort of what this is, although it depends, because some songs here, especially towards the latter half of the album, have these sort of intros that were more inspired by like these sort of early techno beats, rather than necessarily like being synth or whatever. It's like a fever dream in a way, it's very catchy, I must say. Like a lot of the songs are very catchy for sure, but it's very like interesting, I guess. As far as I know, Assemblage 23 actually, isn't European. I think they're American, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember anything from the little research I did. So it's actually kind of funny that to me just kept reminding me of like European things for some reason. Like seriously, I think if you grew in Europe, especially in the 2000s, like, and you listen to the type of EDM that was coming out of Europe in the 2000s, if you've watched Eurovision and stuff like that, I think you listen to this album, you listen to some of the songs, and I think they'll give you the same vibe, because that's definitely the vibe they gave me. Like that was definitely the vibe that I was getting from most of the songs in this album. I mean, it's just is what it is, I guess. But yes, I mean, obviously part of the low sound quality might also be that the album is like mega old. I think this came out in the 2000s, which is why it sounds like the 2000s. I'm pretty sure it came out like in 2004-ish, 6-ish, something like that. Which is why it sounds so like low quality to begin with. I looked around. I listened to this on YouTube because that's where I listen to stuff, and I actually looked around and I couldn't find anything that was higher quality than a third-party upload. So I just went with that. So definitely, probably that's also part of the reason as to why the sound quality just really isn't the best, I guess. But at the same time, like, again, I think it's so fucking ironic, because the sound quality, weirdly being low quality, actually, in my opinion, made the entire experience better, because it made the experience like remind me a lot of like, again, like European 2000s electronic music. It's so like, because it has that campy that campy style of singing, you know what I mean? But it also has like this sort of beats to it, while also using a lot of synths and whatnot. Like, again, if you've been around at that time, and you grew during that time, you will perfectly understand what I mean. And it's so reminiscent of like Eurovision, and I think like the low quality just makes everything so much better, especially again like when it comes to the singing, because the singing just feels that it's very separate from the rest of the album. Like the instrumentals are one thing, and then the singing just feels like it's on the room next door, you know what I mean? Like, or like it's like they're in the same room, but they're not like using the same like mic, you know what I mean? It's sort of like on one side of the room you have the instruments, and then on the other side of the room you have the vocals. Basically, that's what like they feel, which in a weird way makes the vocals feel very transcendent. It makes the vocals feel like, you know, they're sort of permeating the entire song, as in like sound wise. It feels like in the mix they extend the entire mix, right? As opposed of just sort of having a certain specific place in the mix, which is, again, it creates this very like early 2000s, even 90s sort of like atmosphere, dreamy atmosphere, like futuristic, like, you know, type synth type pop to it. And I just think it's such a good job. Honestly, I was enjoying it a lot, but I was also kind of like having perhaps a little bit of a laugh. And I mean, I don't know, like a lot of things here are kind of like they're definitely very interesting, you know. Like I will say that a lot of this is like catchy, and it's exactly that type of, you know, just the over the top, you know, taking yourself too seriously. I mean, you don't take yourself too seriously. It's like it appears that you take yourself super seriously. That makes it feel like even like funnier and makes it feel way more enjoyable, right? Not because, you know, the artist is taking themselves super seriously, but more because it appears they are, and it appears they're taking something super serious that is actually not that serious at all, or at least in terms of like the genre. But yeah, I mean, overall it's just kind of enjoyable. I actually did enjoy, because to me the song at least that felt the most different was Dark Flow, exactly because this is the song that started with like this sort of techno intro, or at least inspired techno intro, when it comes to especially the beat, right? And I was a bit like, oh, did this album end? Did it go to like some other album or something? No, it was the same album. It was just like very, it's very different, definitely. I will say it's definitely very interesting, or very different rather. But yeah, overall I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. I don't know, like it's just, again, it's that type of like campy Eurobeat thing, you know, like when you're listening to Eurobeat and it's super like serious, but it's actually not that serious because the songs just sound kind of like, you know, they sound like fun, basically. They're not like super serious, they're not like, you know, super deep. They're just like really stupid, and that's why they're good. It's because they're just overall very fun to engage with, as opposed of being, you know, like super dark or, you know, emotional or whatever. No, it's just like, hey, I want to, you know, sing about you know, my car or whatever, you know, or something like that. Is, you know, again, like it's not supposed to be super serious in my opinion, and I think that's what makes it best, you know. That's what really brings out a lot of the enjoyment and brings out a lot of the charm, definitely, that the album has. So yeah, in terms of my vibe meter, I'm vibing a very nice 7 out of 10, I think. Yeah, I think a 7 out of 10 is nice. Again, you know, I could have probably like listened to it on Spotify or something, but you know, I guess I'm special. I like to listen to my shit on YouTube, so you know, maybe I could have found like a higher quality thing, but again, like I think the low quality is just made for a better experience, even if overall I think that everything actually sounded worse. But yeah, 7 out of 10, and I'll see you tomorrow with another album.